All right, so here we go. Last set of steps. So we've got our works cited already pasted in. Now we're going to use the find and replace function. Now for some of you, it's going to be the first time I've ever used this. So we're going to go ahead and go through this document. So if we need to know which one's which. So for example, I know that McLeish is the source A. This happened to be the first one alphabetically too. Okay. So the McLeish is going to be really important for me. I'm going to copy that. But as the find and replace function says, we need to copy the first part of the citation. It could be the name or the last name of an author. It could be the name of a website, or it could be the name of the web page itself. Whatever is first in your EasyBib citation. You don't get to pick which one it is. Whatever is first. And then we're going to use the menu bar to use the find and replace key. The key about find and replace is that it's very character, meaning key specific. Sometimes you have to add spaces. The order you put them in all makes a difference. It's going to look for it precisely, and it's going to replace it with whatever we want. We're going to have the find and replace function to take all the places where we use letter A for the source, and we're going to put in the name. In this case, for our sample document, it's going to be McLeish. So I'm going to go to find and replace under the edit menu. I'm going to find space parenthesis A. I'm going to match the case on it. Really important I do that. This ignore Latin diacritics. This is new. It really wasn't here a couple days ago. So we're going to let it be there because we're not going to worry about accent marks, that sort of thing. What are we going to replace it with? Well, if I am finding space parenthesis A, I need to replace it with space parenthesis McLeish, because that was the first thing was in there. I'm not changing anything after it. I'm not changing anything before it. We're going to assume we did all the things we're supposed to, like the periods are right where they're supposed to be. We're going to go ahead and hit replace all. And now it's fixed all of those. So if I close that and go back and take a look, any place where I had, there's only 2 of them in this document, any place where I had a parenthesis A, in this case A5, it now says McLeish 5. And then notice I have a period after the parenthesis and no period before it. I need to repeat that for sources B and C. Again, this document, I know that I actually had the last name, Topin, was my source B. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to edit, find and replace. The nice thing about doing this the first time is that it's going to allow you to just edit what you already had the last time you did find and replace. So it's space parenthesis A, now it's space parenthesis B, and whatever's first. In this case, it's Topin. So as I've got 8 instances of that, replace all. If I want to take a look, now I've got the last name there. That's actually the formatting you use for it. So if I want to know, for example, in the document, I'm curious about something I'm reading, and it says the name of the author and what page or paragraph number it is, it means I can go down here and say, oh, okay, I need to find this source. And on that page of that book, if I actually want to read it, I can find it and go ahead and identify it. But the source, the letters have to come out. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and say my last source I used was Redmond. So I'm going to copy that, find and replace. Sorry, edit, find and replace. Letter C. Replace all those. And this one also has, the example draft we have has a fourth source that we didn't have initially. So I'm just going to use a sample name or a game of a website. So if source D was a website, then I needed to put something like the name of the website. If the website was all about rainforests.org, whatever that is. Whatever that first thing is the entry. If it's the name of the web page in italics, if it's the name of the website, quotation marks, whatever it gives you first is what you use. So we'll do that one. And I replace all of source D. And if I look through my document, I have got none of those source letters anymore, but it's still the format I need it. All the source letters are gone. I know the names of it. This find and replace function is really cool because if you type things in precisely, it is guaranteed to find it for you and fix it for you precisely as you typed it in for the entire document. Think of it not just for a 2-page outline. Think of it for a 15 or 20-page paper, how nice it is to have the find and replace do that for you. You can do that with misspellings. Let's say that you constantly capitalize a word that shouldn't be capitalized. You can find all the times you capitalized it incorrectly and replace it with the correct capitalization. If you constantly spelled each other as one word, which a lot of people do, you can go ahead and type in, for example, find and replace, and I can find and replace, get rid of that, each other, and I replace it with each other. And I can hit replace all. I haven't done it at all in this particular paper, but if I did that, I could hit replace all, and it's going to fix the entire paper for me. I don't have to proofread each part to check for it, which is a pretty cool step. So that's the find and replace function with it. And what we have left in our document is some formatting things, and we're going to do those following the directions. There's also directions here for if you have a quotation, for example, and if you didn't move the period where it's supposed to be, you might need to move the period. You can do things where you take out, for example, if you did examples of period, quotation marks, parenthesis, you could replace that with quotation marks, space, parenthesis. And that would get rid of the period in the wrong spot. The problem if I do certain things like if I just said add parenthesis period, thinking, well, I know I have some that don't have them, or find parenthesis and then say parenthesis period. If I do that, what's going to happen is that every time I have a parenthesis, it's going to add a period after it. I may not want it there. I may already have them there. I might end up with 2 instead of 1. Well, that's not better. So if I do examples of parenthesis space, and then replace that with parenthesis period, looks like I have 1 instance of that. The nice thing is when I close it, it shows me where it was, that example of it. It looks like I had a different use of it. It wasn't a citation. Well, I don't want that there, so I can fix it. Some good options with it, with find and replace. All right, let's fix the formatting in this document. So with this, we're going to go under the edit menu, select all, and we're going to, everything's highlighted. If everything stopped being all highlighted, we need to make sure Control A or select also is highlighted. We're going to make sure the font is Times New Roman, size is 12 point. There's no bold, no italics, no underlining. But we have to have an exception to that. And I'll show you what I mean for the italics. So let's go back to it. Let's Control A, select all. If you want to do edit, select all is an option too. We're going to make sure it's all Times New Roman. We're going to make sure it's all 12 point. Notice how it's staying highlighted? I've got some things are bold, some things aren't. If I click on it twice, once makes everything bold, twice makes nothing bold. I don't know if I've been underlined or not. I can click everything underlined, everything not underlined. Tricky step though. What if, I've got some things in italics here that need to stay italicized. Well, if I wanted to ignore my works cited section, I could just highlight everything not in the works cited section. And then I can go ahead and do italics and not italics. And then my main paper is correctly formatted in that regard. So I've got it. Font, size, and I've got the right form or style of it, no bold, no italics, no underlining. I'm going to go back and highlight, Control A, select all of it. So we also want to check text color and highlight color. So for that, we're going to go here to text color. If I had links to it, live links, they might be in blue, which is fine. I can keep that. Again, you can ignore the works cited if you want to keep those formatting okay. For the main paper, we definitely want to do this. So let's go text color and make sure top left is black. And highlight color, make sure there's no highlighting in there. Especially if you copied and pasted things and typed in that, it might have gray shadow kind of highlighting or shadowing to it. We want to make sure to get rid of all those things. Other things we can do. Well, we shouldn't have any bullets in our paper. So we're going to go ahead and hit the bullet once and bullet twice. And that's going to get rid of the bullets. Challenging part, you notice what I did to my paragraphs? Well, I have to just go ahead and go back to what I know about paper. The nice thing is, if I see this spacing over here, that also tells me where I had my paragraphs. Of course, another way to do it, I saw I had space there, no period. The other way to do it is to simply just eyeball it. Usually you can see if there's any bullets on there in case you don't need to actually go through the step of checking it. Line spacing, the one last thing we need to do. It's literally the last thing. You see how these lines are closer together and these lines are farther apart? A lot of people think line spacing has to do with how many times you hit the space bar. That's not it. Line spacing is about how far apart the lines are automatically set to be. So we're going to Control A because we want to include everything. We want to include title if we have one. We want to include the works cited. We want everything to be the same spacing. So for spacing here, we click on that. We're going to go down to custom spacing. There's a reason why we do that and not just click on double. Custom spacing. We want to make sure the line spacing is 2 or double, and the before and after is 0. Once we do that, we hit apply, and you have a finished research paper. Depending on your teacher, you may have things like they'll say they want you to go ahead and put that on a new page. If you want to, you can. You can insert a page break. That's great. Some teachers really care about how this lines up. Doesn't really bother me, but if you do, you highlight the works cited. You take and drag this over from the ruler to 0.50, 1/2 inch. Grab the top bar, the first line indent, take it back to 0. And now you have what's called reverse indenting. Like I said, I don't really care in 7th grade or 8th grade, but I know in high school teachers do get concerned about that. So we have these different pieces that are all done. We literally have this story finished. So all we need to do at this point is go ahead and submit it. It'd be a great time also to check in with me, see if you have questions. Let me know how I can help. You have done an amazing job. You've stayed with it this far. Now it's your job to go ahead and turn it in and be done.